Hello, Taurus, and welcome back to your extended. So, gone ahead and pulled these cards for the second row, and I have noticed something very, I don't know. It's interesting. It's interesting. So, what I noticed here was that kind of like the hair length in each of these cards. So, what I noticed here was that, this energy here, being the magician, I don't know why I'm wanting to put their hair together. The hair, right? This one here has really long, like luscious Luna. Leave it alone. Can you go? All right. This one has like long, long locks. And so does this one. So it's really interesting to me because in the initial reading I was reading this all as like you. And now what's coming to my attention is actually that the I guess the feminine energy in this reading, the one that you've picked out of the well, um, it's kind of coming up as they've also picked you because with the hair, it's like she or he, the other, is also, right, in the same Six of Wands energy, reaching for the next thing to like manifest, to bring into their life. And so it kind of is pointing me towards then they go and then pick in the well. So it's like if we're talking about, let's just go going along the lines with that like Secret Santa idea. What's being presented here is that you both have picked each other's names. Does that make sense? That's what it feels like to me. So you've both picked each other's names out. And each of you have the clue, if you will, towards this great unveiling and this promise of being able to show your passions after a length of, I guess, the tension building between you two. It's like you're both in that same state. I mean, hell, maybe you're both Tauruses. That would be fun and interesting. All right. So, we're beginning the reading off. Oh my god, 3 through 3. We're beginning the reading off with Temperance. And this is so stunning to me because in my mind, it brought up the story of Apollo and Daphne. You know, with this being Apollo, with the Six of Wands energy being Apollo. Daphne was a laurel, well, she transformed. Apollo was chasing her, and she called out to her father to help her escape his. Hang on 1 second. Sorry about that interruption. Okay, so we were talking about Apollo and Daphne. So, so she called out and was asked to be. That's beautiful. She was asked to be relieved of that. I guess that tension, right? The chase that was happening between them, and just ignore Luna. And in doing so, she was transformed into a laurel tree that Apollo then asked for her blessing, right? and then basically adorned all the victors of the games and things like that were then adorned with a crown of laurel wreaths. So if you want to research the story, go ahead. It's one of my favorites. Anyways, but what I'm seeing here now though is that it's like Daphne is like she's becoming, I don't even know what word to describe. Like, well, she transformed, so she's de-transforming. I don't even know if that's a word. But basically what it's talking about is that she's coming out of that tree form. Like she's becoming like embodied in like a physical being that is not a tree. It's like all of a sudden that whole process of her becoming a tree, it's like now she's well, she was a nymph, right? It doesn't matter. What this is talking about is that the energy is like she's coming out of that shell of the tree energy, which the tree energy is, well, it's not moving, it's solid, it's not moving from the position of wanting to engage. So the energy is now, okay, now I'm ready to engage. Does that make, I'm hoping that I'm making sense with this. So we then have you sitting here underneath the tree in the Four of Cups. So as this one is coming into the space in which they are ready to engage, it's like you're sitting at the base of their tree, contemplating. Well, I feel like here you're trying, this is you attempting to restrain yourself, going into meditation. Really, you're trying to master, right? You're trying to master your passions. And so in doing so, you're trying to restrain yourself by going into a meditation in which you can take your mind off of that lower chakra energy. Because I'm seeing all the orange and red. So you're trying to take your mind off of the lower chakra energy, which is coming up as like passion, sexual passion, that type of stuff. So you're sitting at the base of the tree, her tree, and unbeknownst to you, she has kind of, I'm just saying she because that's the easiest way for me to articulate this message. Unbeknownst to you, she's turned on her engagement. So she's come out of the tree form. And when that happens, it's like then there's something that comes into your mind, an idea of how to engage with this one. So they're presenting as the temperance energy. Again, I'm just looking around. You're getting an idea of how to engage with them. But you're only getting that idea when they decide to start engaging. Does that make sense? It's like they have to make the decision to want to engage, and then you get an idea of how to engage with them. It's like they've sent you the message. Okay, there we go. Luna's annoying the crap out of me. So it's like they've sent you the message of how to engage with them. They're sending it in a way that it's not a traditional way of communicating. So it's kind of coming up as like when you're in meditation, you will start to receive messages. That's what this is talking about. Remember before we were speaking about these two being psychically connected, like even though they're touching, they're really just residing in each other's energy. There's nothing being spoken, or there's no action that's being taken. It's just residing in their energy. But when one of them, I want to say it's the feminine energy, when this one decides that they're like, okay, yes, I'm ready to engage, there is a communication, a psychic communication between both parties that is coming to you and telling you exactly how to engage with them, like how to approach them, so that this tree form doesn't, because it's in the process. So as she's coming out of the tree form, as she's willing to engage, what you're not wanting this tree to, creep back up. So it's all about the subtleties. So psychically, she's giving you some hints as to how to engage with her. Come here, Luna. Get over here. Okay. All right, so there's that. And you're getting it. You're 100%, with the Emperor energy which way to go. So it especially with the Emperor energy, the Emperor comes up as the master, like the ultimate master of all of the suits. So, before we were speaking of you mastering your passions, right? Okay, so this is kind of a timing thing, especially with the Temperance energy being here that talks about divine timing. Okay, so it seems like when you have gotten to that point of mastering your own passions, when you've gotten to the point of mastering and harnessing your passions, and this one is also willing to engage, it's like it's happening at the same time. You are then receiving the information. No, not information. It's not information. Well, I mean, I guess it could be information. You're receiving the thing that's needed to move you forward. It's coming up as a cup energy. So a way to approach someone with love. And you're moving into the Emperor energy. And the Emperor made a significant showing in that Virgo reading, which was talking about the High Priestess not being impressed with the Six of Wands, because it was very earthly. And then, so now it's like, Now you're in this Emperor energy. So you've mastered it. You've mastered all the things. Or even if you feel like you haven't necessarily mastered all of the suits, like, your passions, your thoughts, the physical world, your emotional state, all of those things, like you're very much on your way to succeeding in that. To succeeding at, sorry, I'm looking at how he's gripping this ball. It's like squeezing. I don't know why. Why is that happening? It's actually coming up as like a stress ball. So it's been stressful getting to this point. But you've harnessed with this shape here. You see the Ankh up here, and it's like you've harnessed the magician energy. So the master, if you've mastered all of the elements, right? The pentacle, the sword, the wand, the cup, all this stuff, you've mastered you're a master magician. There we go. A master magician. You're now a master magician. Which is very impressive, I must say. Very impressive. And so, as a master magician, you're utilizing the cup energy to bring yourself closer to whoever you've picked out of the well. They've also picked you. I wonder if that's in your awareness, if you know that they've picked you too. That's interesting. Because it's like there's two, it's like you look the same, is what it's looking like to me. I can't deter. It's this thing with the hair that I was talking about in the beginning of the reading. It's like you look the same. It's like switching back and forth, like in and out of like this. It's I don't know. It's like you look the same. You and they look the same. Which tells me that you guys are connected. I mean, we have the well here, so the well talks about the Akashic library. You're dipping into the Akashic library and pulling out their name, which tells me that you are like almost like you're soulmates with each other. You're connected to each other. You've been connected to each other time and time before. It's just in this current lifetime you haven't yet connected. And I'm wondering if that's because, well, you're running the cycle of becoming a master magician with this Ouroboros down here. It's kind of showing itself as all of that stuff needs to be completed before you can move into this direction, because it's like your mastery has sent out a signal to the Temperance, to the Daphne. I'll just call it like the Daphne, right? And because of that, they're now willing to engage And so then they send, it's like a call and an answer. So when you finally step into that master position, the master magician position, it's like they've gotten that signal, and so that tells them that they're willing to engage, and so they tell you how to engage with them. And then you move into this Knight of Cups energy. And this is the approach. There's something here with the armor. There's something here with the armor. All right. So it's interesting because, you know, you're sitting here. This that cloak that we were talking about is not like you're sitting here in normal clothes. So the cloak has been taken off. The cloak of masking your passions has been taken off. But then you go into all of this armor. And it leaves me questioning, like, what? There's something in the offer, in your offering, that is, well, it's another masking, well, it's actually coming up as like a protective mechanism. And I'm seeing now that there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cups. So this armor here in your approach is acting as a protective mechanism so that it's kind of like so that you don't have disappointment if the offer is rejected. But I'm inclined to say that it's not going to be rejected because it was her who told you how to engage with her. They told you how to engage with them. So it's like it's coming up as it would only be rejected if you were not to follow their advice on how to engage with them. Does that make sense? So keep that in mind, that as long as the cup that you received is the same as the cup that you're giving, that the armor here isn't necessary. I'm not seeing that the armor is stopping anything from happening. I guess in a sense, your armor is the equivalent of this last bit of bark that is around the feet of Daphne. It's kind of like, okay, well, if you approach in a way that's, if you see what I'm saying, then it can go back up, and then she can be encapsulated and safe in that tree energy again. And then for you, it's kind of like the same thing. It's like if you approach and it's not correct, at least you're safe within your armor. It's really interesting. It's like you kind of look like you're okay. Well, no, not really. I was gonna say you kind of look like you're going to battle, but what? I mean, this is This is the knight in shining armor. So this armor has actually never seen any battle. Does that, I hope that that makes sense. So if it's never seen any battle, that means it's like dressing armor. So it's not meant to see any battle, so it never will see any battle. It's only meant for like like dressage type of thing. So we move from the Knight of Cups into the Hierophant. And let me tell you, if you're not dealing with another, I want to say I mean, these are all the same cards that were being presented in the Virgo reading. So, I don't know. So we're going into the Hierophant. Now, this is interesting. I want to say that perhaps maybe the message that you had received when you got that cup in your meditations in your Four of Cups was not actually okay. It wasn't actually a message of how to approach them. Well, maybe it was. It's like you need to approach them in the Hierophant energy. So that's telling me that, okay, that's what this is. Remember there was there's a midway point. So on this spread, you can, if you look at the thumbnail, you can see the Emperor is at the midway point. And above him is the Magician and the Lovers. And that's what this was talking about. It's like that tension that builds between you. There's a midway point where you get to, and the tension is so intense that it's like you're wanting to just go. You're wanting to just go for it. And what I'm seeing, remember, there's a promise here at the midway point of a restoration of peace to that to that to that passion of yours, the need to want to just spring forward and pounce on them, but having to hold because there's something to do with the timing. You're only at the halfway point. You still have a little bit, you still have a little bit left to go. So the information, the message that you're receiving from them psychically is not necessarily how to approach them. It's how to move from the Emperor state into the Hierophant state. And that's what the Virgo reading was talking about, was that it's only at the Hierophant energy that the High Priestess would be impressed. It's like whoever's name you pulled out of the well, it's like their energy is kind of, it's like they're pulling you through evolution. They're pulling you through an evolutionary process. You're moving from the King of Wands to, well, King of Wands, Six of Wands energy to the Emperor and then to the Hierophant. Which is that, like, that spiritual leader. A spiritual leader versus I'm trying to differentiate between these two. A spiritual leader versus like a conqueror. Does that They don't want to be conquered. They want to be in communion. And I'm noticing here that, we started off with all this red, orange energy, which you're still obtaining, because your color, that it's a part of you. So, but what I've noticed here is, look at all this beautiful light lilac that is being incorporated into your energy. You see how, hang on. You see how it was showing like this, right? There's a stop. This is like a no-go zone type of thing. No-go zone. But if we were to take this out and put this in here, you see how the energies merge and blend together more beautifully. Like, you've still got a lot of the red and orange in there, but what's also incorporated is all of this lovely lilac. And this is this is the approach that's necessary. That's necessary to finally reveal your passions. This is the approach that's finally going to get you to a place where you can reveal your passions, because you're matching. You're matching in their energy, which is this lilac. Beautiful blushy lilac. That's beautiful. So, okay, Taurus, I think I'm going to leave it there. Thanks. I'll see you next time.